Hey guys, it's Tom M from Tabletop Republic, and I like Commander. These are my Commander decks, and I thought rather than doing an individual deck tech showing the individual workings of one certain deck, I would literally show off all my decks, why I have so many, what each one does, and just talk you through, I guess, my addiction to EDH. So I'm going to put these in sort of a random order, and we'll go through and talk about each deck individually. Right, so deck number one, Rin and Seri Inseparable. This is a cat dog tribal deck. I made it for my girlfriend, but she doesn't play Magic that much, so I only use this deck occasionally. I think this card itself cost as much as the whole deck. It is probably one of my worst commander decks there is. It could do with much improvement. I've got quite a lot of token-based decks, and obviously this one is all about getting a bunch of cat and dog tokens, and so it doesn't get all the main cards and the love and attention it deserves. I do keep it though, just because my girlfriend, I think, will probably stab me if I get rid of her dog deck, or at least take it apart, because I know for a fact the day that she'll want to play will be the day I'll probably swap it around with other things. But yeah, I've got Rin and Seri. Next up, I have Rebek and Glacian. This is a peasant commander deck. So in Peasant Commander, you can only have 15 uncommons, and the number includes the commander you choose. Your commander doesn't have to be legendary, though, and so it's sort of a bit like Pauper. This is a artifact tribal deck. It is again not very good compared to the decks I play against at the moment. Playing online, some of the decks include a Tatiova token land deck, which is ridiculous, whereas this one does not have a win con at all, and it is not good. I definitely need to improve this very soon. But I've got Rebek, who gives artifacts protection among all my CMC among artifacts, and she's the better one of the commanders. And then Glacian I get out if I have enough mana spare, but I can tap him, look at the top, tap him and tap X untapped artifacts, look at the top X cards, one in my hand, the rest of my graveyard. I've got quite a lot of graveyard recursion in case I do get Glacian out and end up chucking a bunch of good artifacts. Yeah, Peasant Commander definitely could do with some improvements. Yara, next up is Admiral Beckett Brass. This is my Pirate Tribal deck. I don't play this a lot at all. I can't remember the last time I actually bought this card out and played it, just because trying to play all these decks is hard. Like, I can play maybe 2 or 3 a week with the games I play, well, 2 or 3 a session, and then only 1 or 2 sessions a week. And so I just need more time to play some of these decks, because I recently gave this some improvements, because there were some good new pirate cards in some recent sets. But yeah, it's just essentially about giving your pirates unblockable, making them deal lots of combat damage, and then I can gain control of permanents. I also don't really play a lot during, obviously, COVID, because it's harder to take opponents' cards when you're playing via spell table or online, and I don't have any dry white cards just to write things on at the minute. But I'm looking forward to getting this played again soon, hopefully. Next up is Arden and Rograk. This is an aura and equipment themed deck. Obviously, Arden allows you to equip any number of aura and equipment you control to target permanent or player. Rograk is First Strike, Menace, Trample for 0 mana, so bit of Voltron, bit like equipping everything to this commander. But got loads of really good enchantments and artifacts in there, just to either buff my whole field or buff up a single individual creature. But I do enjoy this deck. I don't play it quite a lot because one of the other guys that I play with has the same commander deck, and so obviously I don't want to do two. Don't want to play this in case he wants to play his deck. But I am a fan of this deck. It does do pretty well, and again, I just need a bit more practice with it to see whether it's worth improving or not. Next up is my mill deck with Lazav Demir Mastermind. With this one, Lazav can take the ability of any card from the graveyard that's put into a graveyard from anywhere. So he's not essential for this deck, so I can just keep him on the sideboard. But yeah, main aim is just milling opponents out. I only really play the mill deck if people are annoying me and I just want to see them suffer, as most mill decks are pretty painful to play against. And yeah, just I save this for definitely for special occasions. Next up is Omnath. This is my landfall deck. All colours but black. Omnath, is great ability, so I'll try and get them out quickly. But it is a quite strong deck, as all landfall decks are. They are extremely strong, and I don't really play this that much compared to some of my other decks. It's definitely sort of like a middle ground, just because I'm not sure where it ranks in terms of competitiveness, because I think it's quite high, but I don't think it can quite play with, the big boys of one-turn kills, and it's definitely not CDH, like on the 0 to 10 level. It's probably a 7, but I don't want to over or underestimate it, so, just need a bit more practice with it, as with most of my decks. Next up is Tolsmir, Friend to Wolves. Now this is my girlfriend's main deck that she plays. It is part life gain tribal, part wolf tribal. I've tried to get her to go for a better life gain commander, but she wants wolves, so I might just in the end just swap over and give her a full wolf deck and a full life gain deck. Tolsmir is very good. When he enters, you get a wolf, and then whenever wolves enter, you gain life, and he does everything that you need him to do. And just lots of life gain. This is definitely one of my most competitive decks, and people struggle against it a lot. I do love playing this, and yeah, it's so great to just see people struggle to keep my life contained, because some of the cards in this deck are absolutely insane. I'll definitely do a single deck tech about this deck soon. Next up, we go to my pure Chaos deck, Vivictus Asmadi the Dire. So when he attacks, for each player choose a permanent they control, and they essentially get Chaos Warped. They get sacrificed, and they flip the top card of their library. If it's a permanent, they get it. This is just absolute pure chaos. It's pretty much almost a pure red deck, just because there's not that many chaotic green or black cards. But yeah, it's got things like Chaos Warp and Triskaidekaphobia, or whatever it is, the one that's Fear of 13. It's got the ones where you auction off your cards and stuff like that. I don't play it that much, just because some of the cards involve, it'd be better in person to flip around cards and such. But oh man, people love and hate this deck, just because anything can happen. And there's one particular card, I believe it is Time Sifter, where it just randomizes the turn order, and that's the card that annoys people the most, because sometimes they might not get a turn in like 5 turns, and it makes, if you get on the right side of it, people love this deck. If you don't, or people aren't a fan. Speaking of not being a fan, people aren't a fan of this deck. I love it. I did my deck tech for it recently. Yurlok, the Mana Burn commander. Just a bunch of, it's a group hug deck, so people don't mind it that much at the start, but as soon as I get Yurlok out and they can't spend their mana, this is a very painful deck. Yurlok can affect myself, so I can be losing life from my own commander, but I do have a few ways of sorting it out. In the description I'll put the deck tech for this one, but I love Yurlok. He is very good, but people aren't too pleased when they see him being pulled out. They're like, oh no, and they target him specifically a lot. Right, next up, Arcades the Strategist, or as I nickname the deck, Arcades the Defender. It's Defender tribal. When a creature with Defender enters, I draw a card, and all my creatures with Defender assign combat damage with their toughness rather than their attack. It is not too bad actually for a Defender tribal deck. I don't always expect it to do too well, but I'm actually a fan. If it performs, it does amazing, and I'm drawing, and it's a constant draw machine. However, otherwise I'll just get a bunch of chump blockers out that have big butts that can defend, And so, even when it doesn't do well, at least there's a load of creatures in this deck, but I need to bring it out a bit more because I do like this deck. Next up, a deck I haven't even played yet. Riku of Two Reflections. I built this the other week. When you cast an instant or sorcery, you can copy it if you pay blue-red, and same goes for creatures. If you can copy that creature if you play green-blue. I just haven't had time to play it yet. But with all these spoilers that are currently coming out for Strixhaven, this is surely going to get so many upgrades, and I'm really glad I managed to get this built. Built when I have, so I can play it before and after, so I know which cards to get rid of. Next up, Lathril. I have only played this once, and that was literally a few days ago, and it is very good. This is just a sort of basic upgrade to the Precon deck. So this is the Precon for the Kaldheim Commander, one of the two that came out with the Kaldheim set, and oh my god, it is ridiculous. Even without my upgrades, it is extremely powerful. Just Elf Tribal is great in general. Lathril, I didn't actually do that many. Didn't actually do Lathril's, attacking or tapping. I don't think at all. Just all the cards that came out in either Kaldheim or in this Precon. Oh, I cannot recommend this deck enough. It is annoying to play against, and I am happy. Next up, another card which I have not actually played with yet. So I took apart my Geared Conclave Exile Commander deck. In fact, I think lean over mid-conversation. That one. I've got the giant oversized card here. I used to have the Geared deck. I played with it quite a bit. It was one of my most popular decks, so I did like it. And then I played with it recently, and I got absolutely demolished with it. And I realised there's just something about it that's just not quite right. So I took it apart, got rid of, the white and the red, added black, and because I managed to pull this Slimefoot from the Time Spiral Remastered boxes. So I was like, I am more than okay with building a Saproling themed deck. I have not played this yet. I've played quite a lot of the cards in the deck, mostly, the green side, green and the colourless, but need to give this a little test run soon, but I have a feeling I'm going to enjoy playing with it. Next up is Eligeth and Kaidel. Now this one is one of my newer ones that's only got a new commander. The actual deck has only slightly changed. So it used to be my Jingatixias draw deck. However, I wanted a commander that I could get out a bit quicker, and I also wanted to give it a bit of a change up. It's one of my oldest decks. I play it. It's one of my most played decks, and I thought, let's mix it up a bit. So I wanted to get Eligeth in there. I wanted Eligeth as my commander because if you scry any number of cards, you draw that many instead is amazing with any card. Even Opt, for scry one, draw one. You're drawing 2 for 1 mana. Love it. I'd look at the partner commanders, and Kaidel was literally a perfect match. Add colours for each card you've drawn this turn, and so it was a perfect match, I believe. Haven't given the deck a test yet because it's pretty much the same. I reckon about 75% of it is the same. However, I have a few more scrying cards in there, and obviously all the green cards, pretty much all of them are ramp. There's not a lot of green draw cards in there because I had all of them already. But looking forward to giving this a little test run soon. Next up is another deck that I haven't played for quite a bit, but I am a big fan of, Thales. It is another token deck again. Tokens are my favourite type of deck. But this one, white-black, Thales, just great ability, especially for an uncommon. You get X spirits, where X is the number of tokens you created this turn. Those tokens don't need to still be there, and then you get a bunch of flying 1/1s. And there's a few cards which came out, going to be coming out in Strixhaven, which are going to be really good for this deck. And I'm definitely going to be playing this a bit more because every time I just always skip over it, and I need to play this more. I think I've said that with every single deck so far, but you know what I mean. Next up is Sliver Queen. This is another new deck. It's a proxy Sliver. because I don't fancy spending a few £100 on this card. Quite a lot of these commanders are, in fact, secretly proxies until I have any expendable income to pay on some cards. But yeah, played this just once so far. It's a brand new deck, and people did not like it that much in terms of, like, I got targeted a lot. It was a very strong deck. And so, there's not that many expensive cards in there. It's it's an expensive deck. I think it's, if I was to get Sliver Queen, if all the cards were real, I think MTG Goldfish puts it around $1,000. However, 500 of that is Sliver Queen. So it's definitely not a budget deck. But the majority of the slivers are pretty damn cheap, and so there are cheaper variations of 5-color sliver commanders. However, this one, you pay 2 mana, get a 1/1, and you can info combo off of it. So what's not to love? Next up, another one of my new ones. This will probably be my next deck tech. Heartless Hidetsugu. You tap him and he deals damage to each player equal to half their life total rounded down. I wanted to build a mono red deck. I've never had a mono red commander deck, and so I was chatting with Rob, who's my friend, who's a mono red connoisseur, let's say, and he was like showing off some of the good red commanders, just giving me ideas. And then I was on I think I was on Scryfall or something, and I came across I was on EDH, reckon. I came across Heartless because I didn't want to pick one of the most used one. He was like in the second or third row, and I was just like, that is perfect, because I have so many of those damage doublers and damage triplers, like Foreign Emancipation, Dictate of the Twin Gods, cards which, if something would deal damage, it deals double damage instead, and so I could literally one turn kill people with this, with the right cards in hand. And so yeah, I've only played him once, I believe, and that was against another mono red deck, which, actually no, I played this 2 or 3 times, but it was in like back to back to back, because those games lasted 2 seconds, because the mono red deck I was playing against did much better. However, this card has very similar cards to that deck, and I just need to get it played a bit and hope that I don't lose turn 1 anymore. Only a couple to go now. Next up is Aura Skyclave Hierophant. This is my Cleric Tribal deck. It is a budget Cleric Tribal deck specifically for the budget Cleric Tribal League, I guess we're a play. It's not really a league, it's just occasional games. But it is a very good deck. I am very pleased with this. Highly recommend people build this deck, because there are so many good clerics. It doesn't even need to be a budget deck, but it's going to be quite cheap nonetheless. Aura's ability is amazing. When Aura or another cleric dies, you get a cleric back from your graveyard, and just the recursion you can get, constantly getting new clerics in. I'm very, very happy with this deck. Play this anytime we do a cleric a tribal commander game, but also I just play it generally because it's fun. Next up is my most expensive deck, Zaxara the Exemplary. Now, I've done 1 or 2 deck tech videos on this one as well. It's a very thick one because I've also got a little proxy, cool little artwork version of it here. Yeah, it is a really good deck. It is part X-Cost Tribal, part Hydra Tribal. It's got infinite combos. It can win, it can't win in the first few turns. It's not that quick yet. But it is a extremely powerful deck. If we play strong games, I play this because it's one of my favourites. It has some of the strongest cards. I don't think I've got any proxies in this deck. Everything in it I have actually bought, which was not good for my bank account, but I've bought or traded for, and yeah, I think it's worth over $1,000, I believe, or probably not over 1,000, but at least definitely a few hundred, on maybe between 500 and 1,000. But I need to go through and double check I don't have any proxies and see how much stuff is actually worth. Second to last, we have Yorion. This is one of my favourite new builds. It is a flicker bounce deck, all about, you know, exiling my own stuff, bringing it back, and just enter the battlefield effects. It's the people who play against it, I don't think are big fans. They haven't actively targeted me with it yet, unlike some of the other decks. But it does take me a lot of time to bounce everything and do mental math. It takes a lot of brain work to be like, right, so that bounces that, which bounces that, which brings that into the battlefield, and that affects that. And there's a lot on the stack. If I was playing this, you know, on Magic, like if Magic Arena had a commander and had all the same decks, I'd play it, you know, non-stop, because it would automatically do all the brain work for me. But yeah, so good. There's in every set there's almost, you know, a new flicker card or something, a new enter the battlefield effect card, and with Yorion, there's a new card in Strixhaven. Again, I think it's called Semester's End or something, and bounces all your creatures and brings them back. Yeah, love this deck. Play it quite a bit. And last but not least, we have Goreclaw, Terror of Calcisma. This is my mono green deck. I think this is the first deck, the earliest deck I've ever built that still exists. I had one deck before then, which was mono white token kind of deck, which I then upgraded into all like other commanders. But Goreclaw is my current longest surviving deck. It is just mono green stompy. There's not much you can really say for it. It's just power 4 or greater, tribal a bit. But yeah, majority of it is just really big green stuff, lots of ramp, and it's one of those ones where it either does amazing and demolishes and tramples everyone, or it stutters a bit too much and people target it, and you know, the main problem would be just not having enough mana to play my things and not drawing enough, because obviously it's mono green, doesn't have that much draw. There's a few good cards, but you know, it is definitely a very hit or miss card. But you know, love Goreclaw, probably one of my favourite decks that exists. And there we are. So got all my different commanders. Yeah, I love Commander. It's such a social, fun format. Whenever people come into store and look to play Magic, I always recommend Commander, because I don't like Standard that much, because I play it, you know, a bit. Don't mind playing a bit Arena. I don't play Standard a lot, just because the cards rotate. You have to, you know, sort your deck out every year or so. There's, you know, a bunch of, you know, new cards that come in every set. Whereas Commander, you know, there's no rotation. It's any card you can see. You can search up any card. Doesn't just have to be stuck with the latest year. There's a lot more politics involved because it's multiplayer. And so, you know, it could be like, oh, don't target me, I won't attack you for a few turns. And just some of the commander-based cards where it's like each opponent rather than target opponent work a lot better. And yeah, I love Commander. It's currently my favourite, you know, game to play, full stop. Just Commander, you know, above 40k, above any other Magic format, above any of video games, unless they come out with a Commander online game that's like a virtual version of Spelltable. But yeah, thank you guys for joining me on my ramblings about Commander. Let me know what your favourite one of my ones is. Let me know about your Commander decks in the comments. Let me know if you want me to go on a deck tech on any particular deck, saying I'll put all the ones that I've currently done in the description below. I've got my Heartless one, you know, I've got that slowly being made. That video, I need to record it and do the scripts, etc. But definitely want to do that, because there's no recent deck techs of it. Like all the most famous ones are about 7 years ago, so I definitely want to do more. And yeah, hopefully I'll get to play with all of these and give you an update, you know, months or years time on which ones have changed around, because, you know, even in the past couple of weeks I've built, I think, 4 new ones. Lathril's new, Riku's new, the Peasant Commander here is sort of new, Heartless is new, Sliver Queen's new commanders for an older deck and a few upgrades, new deck. Yeah, it's just... I enjoy building decks and I enjoy playing, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'll stop talking now because I've been rambling for almost half an hour. Thank you for joining me, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.